Welcome students to the biology guidance lecture. I hope by now you must have completed studying the entire syllabus of your biology subject from ICSE 9th standard. Now, what better time than this to discuss about the biology guidance lecture, where we will be discussing about the paper pattern, the types of question which can be asked in your question paper, and also the most important, the time management. Students, now let us begin first with the skeleton of your question paper. Students, the biology question paper total comprises of 80 marks. This 80 marks is distributed as section 1 which carries 40 marks and also section 2 which carries 40 marks. So total 80 marks. Students, the time allotted to write this entire 80 marks paper is total 2 hours. But not only 2 hours students, 2 hours 15 minutes are allotted, where the 2 hours is for you to completely write the paper and 15 minutes which is allotted before you start writing the paper, and that is for question paper reading. Question paper reading time means where you just go through the paper, see what all questions that you have to attempt in section 2. So my dear students, now let us understand the basic paper pattern, where we will start discussing with section 1 which comprises of 40 marks. Students, section 1 completely has objective type of questions, where this objective types of question carries each 1 mark. Very important students, these all objective questions are compulsory. That means you have to attempt all 40 questions. And sometimes one diagram based question can also be asked in section 1. Students, now let us discuss section 2 of the paper which also comprises for 40 marks. As section 1 was objective, students, section 2 will be subjective. In section 2, there will be total 6 questions, out of which you have to attempt any 4 questions. Students, section 2 questions comprises 10 mark each. That means out of 6, you have to attempt 4 questions which carries 10 marks each. And students, in section 2, mostly the questions are diagram based questions or the experiment based questions. After understanding the paper pattern, now let us understand how you will manage time while writing these questions. Students, about section 1, as we have already discussed, section 1 has objectives and sometimes simple diagrams can also be asked. In section 1, there is question number 1 which has sub-questions A to H, which are all objective based questions. And as we have already discussed, A to H is total 8. So 8 questions, 5 marks each, that is total 40 marks. And what time you should take to attempt the section 1? Preferably students, you should complete your section 1 in the time of 45 minutes. As section 1 is all objective based question, you just have to write 1 or 2 words maximum. So it should not take much of your time while writing it. So preferably you should complete your section 1 in 45 minutes. Now, after discussing section 1, let us discuss the time management for section 2. Students, as we have already discussed, section 2 comprises of subjective questions and also diagram based questions. In section 2, the questions are from question number 2 to question number 7, where it can be A and B or in the various combinations like A, B, C or A, B, C or D. Students, one sub-question can be a diagram-based or an experiment-based question and the other sub-questions can be subjective. Again, my dear students, question number 2 to question number 7 are total 6 questions, out of which you have to attempt any 4. So the marks allotted, that is 4 into 10 marks each, that is total 40 marks. Students, preferably for the section 2, you should allot 15 minutes for each question. That means 4 questions to attempt, 15 minutes each. Your paper, that is section 2, should be completed within 60 minutes. And the rest of the 15 minutes that you have in your hand, you can go through the paper and do the minor corrections if necessary. Now students, let us look at the different types of questions that can be asked in section 1. Let us begin with the examples. The first type of question that can be asked is, state whether the following statements are true or false. If false, change the underlined word. Example, swallowing is an involuntary act. Now students, let us have a look how to write the answer. For the question, swallowing is an involuntary act. First, as per the question asked, write down false. Following that, write down the correct statement. Swallowing is a voluntary act. Remember students, even if the question does not state correct the false statement, you have to correct it and then only it will be awarded full marks. Moving on to the next question. Fill in the blanks with a suitable word. First example, dash is an enlarged ripened ovary. The answer for this is, students, before writing the answer, remember, write the full statement but do not just write the single word. So the answer for this question will be, fruit is the enlarged ripened ovary. Moving on to the next type of question. Complete the following paragraph by filling in the blanks with appropriate words. Now, in such questions, they can either number the blanks or they won't. Let us first take the case where the blanks are not numbered. So the type of question asked is, the hind limbs consists of a long bone dash in the thigh, 2 long bones, the inner dash and the outer dash in the shank, 7 dash bones in the ankle, 5 long dash bones in the middle of the foot and 14 dash in the toes. The forelimb consists of a long dash in the upper arm and 2 long bone dash and dash in the lower arm. The wrist has 8 bones called dash. Now let us see how to answer such type of a paragraphed question. Students, always remember, write the full paragraph. Do not just write the words to be filled in the blanks if the blanks are not numbered. So, let us see how to answer such type of question. You should write the entire paragraph and fill in the blanks underlining it. So, the answer will be, the hind limb consists of long bone femur in the thigh, 2 long bones, the inner tibia and the outer fibula in the shank, 7 tarsal bones in the ankle, 5 long metatarsals bone in the middle of the foot and 14 phalanges in the toes. The forelimb consists of long bone humerus in the upper arm and 2 long bones radius and ulna in the lower arm. The wrist has 8 bones called carpals. So this is how you have to answer the paragraphed question. Now, if the same question appears, but now over here, rather than just giving the blanks, they have numbered the blanks. So in such a condition, how you should write the answer? Over here, when the blanks are numbered, no need to write the entire paragraph. Just write down the numbers alongside which you should write the answers. Moving ahead to the another type of question where there is multiple choice questions. So example, BCG vaccine is used to build immunity against. The options given are poliomyelitis, tuberculosis, malaria and whooping cough. Now mostly what students do is they just write down the answer. But students, always remember, you should write the complete sentence following the answer and underlining it. So the answer for this type of question is BCG vaccine is used to build immunity against tuberculosis. As we have already discussed, after selecting the appropriate option, write the full statement. Do not use short forms or abbreviations for fill-ups or MCQ type of questions. Moving ahead to the next type of question where in section 1, match the columns are asked. Now over here, you have to match the questions from column 1 with the appropriate answers from column 2. Let us have a look how to write the match the column type of questions. While writing the answer, do not make use of question and answer numbers to denote the correct answer, as you can see over here. This is a wrong method of answering. Now students, let us see what is the correct way of answering such type of questions. While writing the answer, the column 1 should be written on the left hand side and the answer should be written against the question. But while writing the answer, you are not supposed to change the number of the column 2. While writing the column 2, do not change the sequence of option numbers given in the question paper. So keep the options same as given in column 2 and then write the answer, which is a correct method of writing. Moving on to the next type of question. Complete the following table. Over here, the example is substance given on one side and you have to write the deficiency disease which occurs. Moving ahead to the answers. Students, remember, if the blanks are not numbered, then copy the whole table and underline the answer. So the correct way of answering, on one side copy the entire table where you write substance, that is vitamin A, and the deficiency disease which is occurring because of deficiency of vitamin A, that is night blindness or xerophthalmia, and for the substance vitamin D, the deficiency disease is rickets or osteomalacia. Students, if the same type of question appears, but now over here the blanks are numbered, so there is a different way of answering it. If blanks are numbered, then answers can be written in the following number. For example, the way of writing it is vitamin A, that is deficiency disorder, and vitamin D, its deficiency disorder. Over here, no need to copy the entire table. Just write down the numbers and adjacent to it, write down its correct answer. Moving on to the next question. Choose the odd one out of the following terms given and name the category to which the others belong. So over here, the question is silverfish, cuttlefish, crayfish, starfish and dogfish. Let us move on to see how the answer should be written. Students, very important. First of all, understand how to write the format for an odd one out question. The presentation of answer should be, first, you should write the odd term. Over here, from silverfish, cuttlefish, crayfish, starfish and dogfish, we know silverfish is an odd term because next line, you should write the category and category of which the others belong. As we know, silverfish is an arthropod, but other category is of aquatic marine animals. Moving on to the next type of question. Name the following or give the biological word for the following process. The question is part of the respiratory system from which sound is produced. Students, the answer for such type of question is larynx. The part of the respiratory system from which the sound is produced, the answer should be larynx. Remember, the expected answer is supposed to be in one word only. Moving ahead to the next type of question that can be asked, name the following or give the biological word for the following process. Over here, RBC is being asked. That means the biological word for RBC. Now, most of the students go wrong over here. Majority of the time, they just complete the abbreviation stating RBC means red blood cells. Mind here, dear students, The question was asked as give the biological word. So over here RBC, the biological word for it will be erythrocytes. Moving ahead to the next question. Note the relationship between the first two words. Suggest suitable word or words for the fourth place process. First example is Vallisneria is to water pollination means is to what? And the second example, sebaceous gland is to ceruminous gland and sweat gland is to what? Let us see what are the answer for this type of question. Vallisneria is to water pollination. We know that Vallisneria carries out its pollination with the help of water. So maize carries out its pollination with the help of wind. So the answer will be wind pollination. For the second example, sebaceous gland is to ceruminous gland. We know by studying the chapter skin that sebaceous gland has two modifications, one of which is ceruminous gland. So sweat gland also has one modification and that is the mammary glands. Mammary glands are derived from sweat gland. So answer will be mammary gland. Moving on to the next type of question. State the function of the following. Chloroplast. Remember students, when the function of any part or hormone is asked, then do not write the description for that part. Mention only the function of the asked part. So the answer for this chloroplast will be, do not mention the chloroplast is found in green plants. That is not its function. The function of chloroplast is asked and the answer should be contains pigment called chlorophyll which helps to perform photosynthesis. Moving ahead to the next type of question, give or state the exact location of each of the following. Example, pancreas. Remember students, when location of any part, hormone, organ or organelle is asked, do not write the description. Mention only the location of that asked part. So for pancreas, do not mention pancreas is a leaf-shaped gland secreting enzymes. That will be its function. As location is asked, the answer to the pancreas will be, it is located in the abdominal region just below the stomach. Moving ahead to the next type of question, give appropriate biological or technical terms for the following. The type of immunity that exists in our body due to our own genetic makeup. The answer for this question will be innate immunity, the type of immunity that we have by birth. Usually, this type of question may appear in both the sections. However, section 1 features difficult or tricky type of questions. Moving ahead to the next, rearrange the following words or terms in a logical sequence. Now students, in such questions, always the first term should mark the beginning of the process and the sequence should be maintained properly. So over here the question asked is fertilization, germination of pollen grain, pollination, growth of pollen tube towards the ovary, formation of fruits and seeds. We all know that this question is asked from the chapter pollination and fertilization, where the fertilization of pollen grain and the ovule is asked. So the answer should be, the above example is obviously related to the pollination and fertilization. So the answer should be pollination, germination of pollen grain, growth of pollen tube towards the ovary, fertilization, formation of fruits and seeds. Care should be taken while writing such type of question, that is, you should mention or you should write hyphen in between the two terms and not to be putting arrows in between. Moving ahead to the next question, write the full forms of the following abbreviations. Examples are DDT, WHO. Let us see what are the full forms of these abbreviations. DDT, the full form is dichloro diphenyl trichloroethane. If any abbreviation has two full forms, preferably mention both the forms. The second example, WHO, the answer will be World Health Organization. Dear students, remember, there are few types of questions that may appear as a part of section 1, which are normally asked in section 2. For example, distinguish between, explain the following terms, draw the following diagram and answer the questions related to it. Let us move on to the next type of question which can be asked in your paper. Study the diagram below and answer the following questions. We all know that diagram based questions are obviously asked in section 2, where they will give you a diagram and there are few questions associated with it. Now let us see what diagram is given. Over here in this question, they have asked the nitrogen cycle. Now let us see what are the questions associated with it. First, what does the diagram represent? Second, how leguminous plant help in nitrogen fixation? Third, name the bacteria that converts first ammonium compounds to nitrite and second nitrites to nitrate. Next question, how does the nitrates in the soil is converted into nitrogen? How plants and animals play a very important role in the formation of ammonium compounds? Students, now let us have a look what are the answers for the following question. As we have already discussed, the first question that what does the diagram represent? The diagram represents the nitrogen cycle. Second, leguminous plants contain rhizobium in the root nodules which help to fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and convert it into soluble nitrates which can be used by the plants. This process, students, is called as nitrogen fixation. The second question where the name of the bacteria were asked which converts the ammonium compounds into nitrites, the answer is Nitrosomonas. The second question where the nitrites were converted to nitrate with the help of the bacteria Nitrobacter. Fourth question, the denitrifying bacteria which are present in the soil converts the nitrates into nitrogen and send it back to the atmosphere. The next question, nitrogenous wastes are present in the dead remains of plants and animals which are converted into ammonia by the bacteria. Ammonia is been later converted into ammonium compounds. In this way, the plant and the animal play a very important role in the formation of ammonium compounds. Let us move on to the next type of question. Differentiate between the following pairs on the basis of what is mentioned in the bracket. Students, always read the question carefully and then answer what is asked. So, example over here is antibiotic and antibody. You have to differentiate between the both, giving their sources. So, let us see what is the answer for it. Antibiotics are chemical substances produced by some microorganisms like fungi, bacteria, which can be used to kill or inhibit the growth of the other microbes. Whereas antibodies are the protein which are produced by the specialized lymphocytes called the B lymphocytes on exposure to antigens. Moving ahead, answer the following questions. Students, in this type of question in section 1, a diagram for 2 marks is asked followed by the questions related to the diagram. Let us see an example for such type of question. The example is draw a neat labeled diagram of a bisexual flower and the questions related to it are which are the essential whorls from the diagram drawn above, and the next question is mention 2 functions of calyx. Let us see the answer for this question. Students, as they have asked to draw a neat and labeled diagram of bisexual flower, first you have to provide with the diagram. Second, answer the questions. Androecium and gynoecium are the 2 essential whorls of the flower, and the third question they have asked about the functions of calyx. So, mention the function of calyx. Calyx protects the flower in its bud condition. And second, as it is green in color, it also performs photosynthesis. Students, these are the following list of diagrams which can be asked in your paper. Next type of question, observe the diagram and answer the questions which follows. Here the diagram is given and similarly associated with the diagram there are few questions which are asked which you have to answer. Dear students, let us see how to answer such type of questions. First, The aim of the experiment is to show that water and temperature and oxygen, all the three factors are necessary for germination. The next type of question asked was, which type of seed is used? The seed used in the experiment is a bean seed. Next, the seed in the middle, that is seed B, will germinate because it will get all the three factors as compared to the other two seeds. The next question, the seed C do not germinate because it was not getting enough oxygen. Now, the type of germination that can be seen in a bean seed is apigeal germination. Note, dear students, if the first answer of identifying the stage is wrong, then the further questions or the further connecting sub-questions will not be checked at all and will be marked wrong. Now, dear students, let us see what are the different types of questions which can be asked in section 2. The different types of questions like give reasons, followed by distinguish between, next, give the exact location of, give the functions of, explain the terms, diagram based question or the application based question, experiment based question or the application based question, etc. can be asked.